Hello, everybody. Eric here with a weekly wrap up for August 24th through August 30th. On the channel, last Monday, the 25th of August, I posted a review for The Light at the End by John Skipp and Craig Spector. This was a reread. I've read it over half a dozen times. At one time, it was my favorite book of all time. Check out that review to see if it held up. On Friday, The Book of Lists Horror by a bunch of people. I'm going to say Amy Wallace, Del Howison, and Scott Bradley. Pretty sure those are the writers slash editors slash people that compiled the book. I bought this and read it because it was mentioned in Jason Cavallero's Cracking Spines, 3 Decades of Horror. And it is what it says on the cover. It's a book of lists of horror stuff. If you want to know more, check out that video. And Wednesday was February of 2008 in Reading Remembrances, the books that I read back in February of 2008. And that's what was on the channel. Work-wise, work was interesting this week. A lot of shenanigans going on. But the big thing, Jessica Ann has left us. She's the person that's been there the longest after me. She started a week after I did, and she's moving on to quality control because everybody wants a better paying position. So we had some pizza, had Rosie and Marta and Jacob come back and visit us. Rosie and Marta were there when I started, and they both moved on to other better paying positions. So right now it's just me and Fielis, who's only been there a couple of months, and a couple of new people, Mercedes and Corey. Now, let's get into some controversy. There was, and this will be one of the questions of the video, your thoughts on this. So now, as of this recording, it is Saturday, August 30th. Tomorrow's the 31st, obviously. And then Monday is September 1st. It's Labor Day. It is a paid holiday. So, this past Tuesday, as of this recording, I was called over to the plant manager, and I was told that the building would be closed on Friday because there would be no electricity and we weren't working. If anybody wanted to work extra hours during the rest of the week to make up for not working on Friday, because it's unpaid day off, anybody could work extra hours if they wanted, make up some of that money. So I went over to my people and I told them that we weren't working on Friday, and if anybody wanted to work extra hours, blah, blah, blah. Thursday morning, we were told that anybody who didn't work on Friday, anyone who didn't go to one of the other buildings and work in another department, would not get their holiday pay for Monday. Now, this only affected 2 of us because the other 3 people haven't been there long enough to have earned holiday pay. But, yes, so we were told we had to come in and work on Friday if we wanted our holiday pay. And if we didn't put in PTO or anything, we would get points for not coming into work. And then later in the day, and I had said, I'm not coming in. I made plans. I'll take the points and I'll lose the holiday pay. I don't care. But later in the day, I was called over to the plant manager, and she started giving me the work assignments for everybody. And I said, hey, you told us on Tuesday that we were not working. I told my people we were not working. Fielis has worked an extra 5 hours already to make up for not being here on Friday. And she got all upset about it and still insisted that Jessica come to work for some reason. I put in the last of my time off hours to try to avoid points. I still think I'm going to get like 3/4 of a point. But everybody was pissed off. To me, seems ridiculous on two counts. One, we were told we were not working on Friday because the building would be closed. We were told that on Tuesday. To come in on Thursday, the day before, and tell us we had to come in and work on Friday, absolutely ridiculous. Two, the building is closed. We were told we weren't working, but now if we don't work, we're losing our holiday pay. I call bullshit on that. So, a bit annoyed at work. And the question is, what do you think about this? Do you think I'm being unreasonable? Should I have gone in and worked on Friday in another department, in another building? Should management have told us earlier in the week? Like on Tuesday when they told us, and frankly, I think it should have been even before Tuesday. But when they told us the building would be closed on Tuesday, isn't that the point where they should have said everybody has to go and work in another building? Not. You're not working on Friday, and then 2 days later tell us we have to work on Friday. Or am I unreasonable? Let me know in the comments below. Let's get past it and move on to the thing that I think everybody is here for. Because as usual, I got more stuff. Now, to be fair, I took a bunch of stuff into Half Price Books, a bunch of games that just weren't as good as I had hoped or don't get played, traded in games to get some books. But there are a few things here that I did order online. So first of all, and this goes to a book that I read this week. Speaking of, I finished Magic by William Goldman. And then the next book I read came in last Sunday, and that is Tick Town by Christopher A. Miklos. Giant ticks attacking a town. And then the book I just finished mere hours ago, less than hours ago, Stuff That by Adam Millard. Look at that great cover. I'll be recording reviews for all three of these things as soon as I finish this video. But these two came in since the last time I did a weekly wrap-up. And then, let's save the stuff from Half Price Books. Then, some other things that I had ordered. This is Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica, Volume 2. So this is issues 7 through 12 of the Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica series. I'm a huge fan of Red Sonja and Vampirella. Not the biggest fan of Betty and Veronica. When I was a kid, I used to read Archie comics all the time, and I do like their horror stuff. But seems like hopefully this should be fun. Hopefully I still have Volume 1. But there you go. And then on my review for Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle, somebody pointed out that he wrote a horror novel before that, a novella actually. And so I immediately went to Amazon. And so this is Straight by Chuck Tingle. It's not Tor Nightfire, which is why I was not aware of it. And basically, this is about, for one night a year, the vast majority of humans now undergo a frightening mental change, transforming into hateful, rage-fueled zombies who will stop at nothing to satiate their desire for brutality because of this weird tear in the cosmos that appears within Earth's annual path. While not much is understood about this horrific mass hysteria, the demographic it affects is very specific. Cisgender straight people. So, should be very interesting. There are a number of stories that feature sort of zombification or rage virus type things, homicidal rage within a specific group. Sometimes it's just men, sometimes it's just women. In this case, it's just cisgender straight people. I loved, spoilers, if you haven't watched my review for Camp Damascus, absolutely loved it. So I'm hoping this is good stuff. Let's put it over there. And then this is Missing in Miskatonic by J.P. Behrens from Crystal Lake Publishing. It is a Travis Daniels investigation. This has been on my radar for quite some time, but the second book in the series either just came out or is coming out very soon. Kaylee Dobbs at Happy Goat Horror recently reviewed the second book. She reviewed this one, reviewed the second book, so I finally decided time to get the first one. It's been on my wish list for a long time, and I always enjoy private investigator mashed up with horror type stuff, so hopefully this is good. And then didn't get a lot from Half Price Books, but let's do this. Let's do it that way. Only 4, 5, 6, 7, only 8 books. I didn't get a lot in trade, but some interesting things, I think, obviously, or I wouldn't have bought them. But anyway, first of all, we have The Nameless by Ramsey Campbell. This is a Tor book. Let's see, when is this from? 1981. I'm getting to the point now. I don't have a ton of Ramsey Campbell, but I have enough that I'm not always sure what I have. And so I had to read the back, and I'm pretty sure, based on the back cover synopsis, that I was pretty sure that I didn't have it, so I picked it up. And turns out, as far as I can tell, I don't. I think all my Ramsey Campbells are in the same spot. I really need to get more organized, but cool cover. Ramsey Campbell, The Nameless. Then a bit of nonfiction, just something that caught my eye. I like these weird little books. And this one is from... first printing is 1966. Holy cow, this book is... well, the original version of this book is older than I am. July 1966. It says second printing is 1971. But this is A Fate Book of the Occult, Beyond the Strange, compiled by the editors of Fate magazine. Amazing true accounts of the mysteries of ESP, dreams, the occult, UFO, witchcraft, and other phenomena in the unseen world of the paranormal. It's just a tiny little thin book, but should be quite interesting. Incredibly small print here. Of course, I don't believe in any of this stuff, but it's always fun to read about. Then I just grabbed this. First of all, I forgot that there was a sale going on, so I actually could have picked up at least like one more thing at Half Price Books just using the credit that I got for my trade-in. I actually have cash in my wallet right now. Don't tell anyone. There's $9 in my wallet because I got change. But this was just something, thinking that I only had like $5 left. I pulled this off the shelf. Older people may be aware of this, older viewers. But this is Kwai Chang Caine, master of Kung Fu. This is book 1, The Way of the Tiger, The Sign of the Dragon, a novel by Howard Lee, based on the teleplay by Ed Spielman and Howard Friedlander, etc. There's some more stuff, but so Kung Fu, for those who don't know, was a TV show back in the day, back in the 70s. And let's see what the copyright on this book is. 1973, starring David Carradine. Had to double check my Carradines. There's too many of them. David Carradine, unfortunately, for the sensitive people, stop listening for the next 30 seconds or so. David Carradine is the gentleman who passed away during autoerotic asphyxiation. Gone wrong. But back in the 70s. He was in a TV show called Kung Fu. He's supposed to, Kane is a half American, half Chinese gentleman trained in the art of Kung Fu. His master called him Grasshopper, and I just always remember they would always have the things, when you can pull the stone from my hand, then you will be ready, Grasshopper. But then he traveled the United States, and he becomes part of a this says a coolie gang building the railroad across the western United States, but the basically Chinese slaves. And he would travel. I seem to recall him just traveling from town to town, righting wrongs, fighting for the underdog. A lot of shows like that back in the day. Kung Fu, The Incredible Hulk, even shows like Run Joe Run, which was about a dog that was framed for murder and would run from town to town because he was being chased, and would help people in each town that he went to. But Kung Fu, I enjoyed the show. I think it'll be fun to read this. And there's an ad for cigarettes in the middle of the book. That's how things were back in the 70s. There you go, True Blue. Speaking of novelizations, and this kind of goes with the next set of books, Flash Gordon, the only book of the film, and an exclusive 8 pages of color photos from the film. This is a novel by Byron Cover, based on the screenplay by Lorenzo Semple Jr. I'm a fan of this cheesy movie. I saw it in the theaters. And yes, it's goofy, but it's a lot of fun, and it's helped a lot by the soundtrack from Queen. And it has some crazy performances, and it has Timothy Dalton in it, possibly the first place I ever saw Timothy Dalton, and right then it was like, yeah, that guy would make a good James Bond. And I think he did for 2 films. But the Flash Gordon novelization. And the reason that goes with the next set of books is because I have the first 4 books in a series from, once again, let's check copyright. This has 1980. And now, what order should I talk about this in? They had 6 of these books at Half Price Books. The first 4 were $5 each. Numbers 5 and 6 were $20 each. I don't know why. One would assume it's just availability, but I would think the earlier books would be less available. People are going to buy the earlier books before they buy the later books. Maybe they didn't print as many. The series wasn't that successful, except it went on for 12 or so issues or books in the series. Anyway, this is Flash Gordon, Book 1, Massacre in the 22nd Century. There is no author name anywhere on the front of this book, so I don't know, or the side, or the back, so I don't know who the author is. Love that cover. I believe that's a Boris cover. Flash Gordon. And then we have Flash Gordon Book 2, War of the Citadels. Another Boris cover. Another book that does not tell me who the author is. And so, there we have that one. And then we have Flash Gordon Book 3, Crisis on Citadel 2. Or Crisis on Citadel 2? Citadel 11? Exciting New Adventures of Earth's Greatest Hero. Another Boris cover. Another book without an author's name on it. And then, finally, we have Flash Gordon Book 4, Forces from the Federation. Another beautiful cover. Another book with no author. And yeah, so I looked this up online, and I think there's at least 12 books in the series, and it seems that this Citadel thing is an ongoing thing. I don't know that it's one giant story, but the Citadel seemed to be sort of an overarching thing, if not, because a lot of the other titles, I seem to recall, having looked at them, had Citadel or something. But I love these old types of books. I'm a fan of the Flash Gordon character, and I love these covers. And you have, of course, Flash Gordon, Dale Arden, who's a woman named Dale, and Dr. Hans Zarkov mentioned on the backs of all four. So, very excited. And if I can find the rest of the series at a reasonable price, I will definitely pick those up. And that is everything that I picked up this week, or at least since the last video. That's not actually true. I did get a game that I had ordered from Cryptozoic, DC Deck Building, Arkham Asylum, the latest DC Deck Building game from Cryptozoic. DC Deck Building, possibly my favorite game. I love deck building, and I could have said, a few months ago, I have everything in the DC Deck Building line. But this game was on Kickstarter when I was unemployed, so I was unable to back it. It's the first time since they started doing Kickstarter that I haven't been able to back the games. So I ordered this directly from Cryptozoic, but there's already a major expansion for this particular edition that I don't have. There is a what they call a crisis pack. I don't know what they call it. And Crisis it's a bunch of stuff that you add to any of the base games that make it cooperative and very, very difficult. So I don't have the new Crisis one. And they have the Versus, which is a one-on-one game. These other DC Deck Buildings, you can play up to 4 or 5 or however many players. But the Versus system is 1 versus 1, although there are ways to make it 2 versus 2 with team play. And there's a new Superman versus Lex Luthor that I did not pick up yet. So I'll get those eventually. But we played this already, this Arkham Asylum. A lot of fun. Adds some interesting mechanisms. You can bribe cards. You can take cards hostage. A lot of crazy stuff. And you're playing villains in Arkham Asylum. So I did get that, but I left it over there, so you can't see it. And I think that's about it. Didn't really watch anything. I might watch Thunderbolts, since it is a long weekend. It's on Disney Plus, which we have with ads. So I might watch that, but I need to do more reading. And I have to decide what I'm reading next, since I finished up Stuff That by Adam Millard. I need to decide what to read next. And I have a big honking book that I mentioned last week that I want to read soon, but I need to read a bunch of quick stuff so I can keep the content flowing. So that is it. I think that's all I have this time. I've already asked one question. What do you think about the work thing? The second question is the usual. When I show off all this stuff, does any of this catch your eye? Any of these books interest you? And, have you picked up anything this week? What kind of books? Let me know what you're doing with your lives in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I'll have links for my Instagram and Blue Sky in the description below. And that's all I have for you this time. So until next time, read more books.